This video will introduce you to project maps. Project maps are a really useful way to develop a patterned representation of your project, its coding and the connections within it. To create a project map, go to the Explore ribbon and within the Maps area, choose Project Map. I'm going to name this one Coding and then click OK. The first thing I need to do with a project map is to add project items. I can do this by either clicking on the Add Project Items option in the ribbon or by manually browsing through my project and dragging items in. For example, if I go to my nodes, I could do this to bring in all of the themes underneath economy. Using Shift, I can highlight them all and drag them in, and continue to do this for each level of the theme. You'll notice as I bring them in, NVivo is automatically drawing the connections between them. These maps can get messy quite quickly, but NVivo has a number of automatic layout options that you may find useful. There is the directed, a hierarchical, a circular layout, or a directed. I'm going to choose this one for this particular map. Once that's done, I can continue to move items around to try and best represent this particular group of themes. As I continue to add items to this project map, the links will automatically come in. For example, I could go into the data folder and choose some specific files. In this case, I'm going to choose some interviews and bring them in. Here I can see where the coding of the nodes I have in this map interrelates with the particular files I have just brought in. I can also do this exact same process for cases, seeing where they appear and where they link. This map's looking a little bit messy now, so I'm going to clear it up by getting rid of everything. I've done that by clicking Ctrl A to highlight everything and then just pressing the delete button. Now that you've seen how the map works, I'm going to try and make one that's a little bit more sensible. This time I'm going to go through the Add Project Items option and this time open the Nodes folder. The first thing I'm going to do is bring in all of the themes in the project, taking care to leave the Attitude folder unticked. As soon as I click OK, we can see all of those nodes have come into the project map. I can now once again use this directed layout to produce a map that shows all of the relationships between the themes within this project. I might need to drag some of these in as the map is spread out. When I'm completely happy with my map, I can choose to export it. This would enable me to save it in a range of popular image formats for use elsewhere. This is a very different view to the kind of linear relationship we see within the Nodes folder. Here we can actually see a more patterned relationship between all of the themes in the project. This time I'm just going to bring in a single theme. I'm going to go for local identity. When I bring any object into a project map, I can click on it and choose the Show Associated Items pane. Here I can see every case, file, relationship, note, and so forth linked to this particular item. In this case, I could open this Files Coded folder and choose to bring in all of the interviews associated with this particular theme. To do so, I'm going to click on Barbara, hold Shift and click on William. I can then drag all of these items out. I can then choose to lay them out automatically and tweak this just a little bit more. In this case, the See Also links are actually starting to mess this diagram up, so I'm going to tick at the top to remove them. you'll notice there's a whole range of other items that you can remove from your project map, including connector labels. Already this diagram is looking much clearer. I'm going to click on the auto layout again to tidy it up. At this point I could bring in an additional theme. Let's go for local knowledge. This time I'm going to drag it in, and this will enable me to see which of the existing participants are also coded at this particular node. Just as we did with local identity, I can click on local knowledge and I can bring in any files that it is coded to. To refresh the add associated items list, I just need to close it, ensure I'm clicked on local knowledge and reopen it. This time I can open any files coded, interviews again, and this time I can see only Dorothy is an additional source that was not coded at local identity. This is a great way for me to see connections in my data. I can see that we have 3 sources that appear in both themes. For local knowledge, only Dorothy is coded, and for local identity there is a much more diverse range of participants. The icons in use here represent the type of file. So we have video files, audio files, and textual files. You'll notice a greater array of these symbols for different file types and different project items. This exact type of diagram could have actually been developed with something called a comparison diagram, which enables us to choose 2 things and draw comparisons between them. The maps earlier in this video, however, were much more complicated and would not be deliverable within the comparison diagram. The project map feature is very powerful and will enable you to see relationships between lots of different aspects of your project. You can also use it to double click on any one item and it will take you to it, meaning it's also a form of navigation. This should be everything you need to know to get started with your own project maps.